Bless you. That was the first response that we have heard to the president on this mass shooting. And joining me now is Britt Hume, Fox News senior political analyst. Britt, this is going to be the first we have heard the president respond to this as he steps up to make a statement at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
This is a very dark day in our country's history, Sandra, and I think it's a challenge for any leading official, including the president, to strike the tone that would be the equal of this hideous atrocity that has happened out there. It's possible, as your previous guest suggested, that this could be kind of a unifying moment in the way that people respond to it, but it's a tough challenge, and people are going to be, there's always inevitably a political piece of this. People most certainly go to the usual battle stations over gun control, pro and con, mental health issues, motivations of the shooter and all that. We're going to hear all of that in the coming days. But the magnitude of this is greater than anything we've seen. This is terrible.
People are waking up to this, Brett. Some learning of it just now, as it's only 7 o'clock on the West Coast. People are scared at what they're learning, are scared at what they're seeing. What does this country need to hear from our president?
Well, if I could, I can't really imagine something that would be the equal of this, but I think it's important that the president express a calm and sympathetic tone, that he be clear about the dimensions of this, that he avoid any comment that would be seen or felt as divisive. And in these divided times, Sandra, it's very hard to say anything about almost anything that won't offend somebody. And it would be, it would be a challenge for any public official to speak about this ghastly massacre that has happened out there. And we don't, and the other thing is, of course, we don't know the full dimensions of this yet. I mean, everybody that's talked about this indicates that a great many of those that are hospitalized by the hundreds are severely wounded. So this death count we've seen that was just holding at 50 is likely to climb substantially in the hours and days ahead. And it'll be interesting to see the reaction of the public too, because this is bigger than anything we've seen in its dimensions. And the effect of it is kind of hard to calculate at this stage.
So, and what does the president need to do right now? When we look at the numbers, over 400 people from that concert have been transported to area hospitals. The sheriff said at the top of the last hour, the FBI response is vital in this and the ongoing investigation. What do we need to hear from the president as he leads us through this?
Well, this is one of those issues that crosses all the boundaries of authority. Yes, this is a local mass murder. It is also a national case. The FBI is involved in this, ascertaining the motive of the shooter as quickly as possible. The president needs to be very careful that whatever information he circulates or puts into play is correct. The president sometimes has a habit of speaking about things in a way that later proves to be off base, not because he intends it to be, but just because he, like anybody, gets things wrong sometimes. So this is a time for being careful and measured and accurate and comforting to the extent that it's possible to be comforting about something so horrible.
And this is a president, Britt, I'll remind everybody, that has a lot on his plate. I would say it's tax reform and health care, but there is still devastation in Puerto Rico.
There is.
That this president is dealing with.
We're living in a time, Sandra, when we seem to wake up nearly every day wondering how bad the latest hideous thing to hit is, how bad the hurricane is going to be in Houston and elsewhere, how horrible the damage from Maria is in Puerto Rico and those other Caribbean islands. All of that is, and the presidents, and other officials' responses to these things are measured politically by partisans and looking for opportunities to criticize and attack. So this is a real high wire act for the president and other public officials in these times, which are so troubling. And Sandra, there's an extent to which over time people would like things to please just calm down. Whether it's political battles in Washington, whether it's reaction to devastating storms, and whether in this case it may be the response to this ghastly massacre, people would like things to calm down. And if they can't themselves calm down, they would certainly like their leaders to treat with them in a way that doesn't exacerbate the tensions and the anxiety that the public in this country unmistakably feel at this hour of our nation's history.
And as you suggested, perhaps the president could lend that sense of calm when he speaks, coming up at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Britt Hume, thank you for coming on, sir.
You bet, Sandra.
This was a country music festival that was, well, in that realm, is known to every country music fan in America. Jason Aldean was on stage, but you had Eric Church and Sam Hunt and Jake Owen and Mary Morris, the brothers Osborne, Lee Brice, and so many others performing over a period of 3 days. The Route 91 Harvest Festival has become a bit of a country music scene for so many fans across this country. If you take Interstate 15 northeast out of Las Vegas, it only takes about 80, 85 miles up that interstate, and you arrive in Mesquite, Nevada, which is the home address for the killer. Now, Jonathan Hunt, back in Las Vegas, has been looking at more on him and his hometown and what more we are learning now. Jonathan, back